WoW's next expansion leaked. BFA's wild ending. Hellia's Pact, new class, and world. Okay, let's see what's going on here.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Warcraft video. Today we are looking at what I believe is the most credible expansion leak that we've seen thus far.
On 4chan.
Not only does the plot make sense given what Blizzard have established, but graphically this leak actually does hold up. We're going to hear not only what will happen in patch 8.3, but also what the next expansion will be, the core themes, the characters, and the setting. And just to interrupt myself in the edit, after we recorded this video, Blizzard released the 2019 BlizzCon poster. Now here's the deal.
The guy in the middle right there, that's for Diablo 4. Like, it's obviously for fucking Diablo 4. Everybody knows it.
BlizzCon poster has featured a major World of Warcraft character that's been a driving force in the expansion they're about to announce. Last time it was Jaina, this time it's Sylvanas. And
that
given
actually
this
is
leak,
a good point.
Sylvanas makes complete sense. Supposedly anyway, while this does have a lot going for it, it could always just be a masterful fake. But regardless, we're going to delve deep into the Shadowlands lore, so there's going to be something here for everyone. And in a way, we dabble into the Shadowlands every day. We browse the internet, and if you're not careful, a vengeful spirit might just nab your password. And that's why you need protection. NordVPN.com/Bellular Gaming have been my VPN choice for years, and they've joined us to sponsor this video. A VPN or virtual private network takes all the data that goes out of your computer and redirects it through a server of your choosing. Right? Well, with Nord's 5,000 plus servers and industry-leading encryption, you'll be anonymous and you'll appear as being from whatever location you want. And you've even got features like Onion and Double VPN, bypass regional restrictions on apps, or even bypass China's Great Firewall. Plus, Nord are a Panama-registered company, so your government can't get through them to breach your privacy.
He's really good at selling out. He is really good at selling out, guys. Let's be honest.
With a tool like Wireshark, and you could get pwned. Their app and browser extension are super easy to use, and you can get 75% off a 3-year subscription at NordVPN.com/Bellular Gaming. That's less than the price of a monthly coffee, plus you get a free month and a 30-day money-back guarantee. First, with any leak, we need to talk about veracity. Now, it is of course impossible to say this is 100% real, but we can do a deep dive into the image. Our full team looked over this, including our graphics guy, John, who has commissions open, by the way, who did a lot of the legwork in analyzing this image. What did we find? Well, the downscaling and the color correction are essentially an exact match of what Blizzard have done for previous in-game cinematics. I think that much is clear at a glance. This absolutely does look like a real in-game WoW cinematic. The next thing we notice is the models being used. There are lots of new and repurposed ones here with those very cool ships, main characters, and Battle for Azeroth soldiers.
Wait, so this is the leaked picture right here? Holy fuck, dude, like, this has got to be fucking real, man. This has got to be fucking, oh yeah, 100% this has got to be real.
So that's pretty noteworthy. Then next, we've got the water. It looks exactly like the Blizzard in-game cinematic water that we've seen in the past. Then the refraction effects and the subsurface scattering, they're clearly beyond what the average 4chan fake leaker is going to be pulling off. Then also, the vignette used here is exactly the same as in Blizzard's Dark Shore cinematic. Overall, the assets here, they look legit. The water seems to be the same water shader that Blizzard use. The effects on top of the water look really top-notch. In short, this looks like a real Blizzard cinematic, meaning that we're either dealing with an incredible quality leak or an actual screenshot from a work-in-progress Blizzard cinematic. And unlike
1 second here, guys.
Many other leaks, this isn't just a grainy low-res phone image masking a clear fake. This is a high-res image with nothing to hide. Now, for context, the leaker also claims that the Shadowlands map from a while back is also real and is actually a 1 to 2 year old mock-up from a presentation, one that's supposedly quite similar to the final design of the Shadowlands. And one interesting tidbit is that there's an area called the Silverian Highlands. Now, this is a tie-in with Silverian Dreamer store mount, though the leak could be tailored to include the store mount. But still, if this is real, it would line up. Blizzard had the Draenei and Orc racial flying mounts be in the in-game store before Warlords of Draenor. The Heart of Aspects was actually a reskin Missa Pandaria Cloud Serpent. Also, the Vulpine Familiar is in the same art style as the Silverian Dreamer, and that's a style that does not match up with anywhere in the game currently. Plus, those mounts have completely non-descriptive store mount descriptions, which further suggests they are based on an area from the next expansion. And yeah, that might sound a little bit scummy, but hey, they've done it before, especially with the Fey Dragon. So, now that we've...
That's the motherfucker. I'm so mad about that, dude. Fuck God, Blizzard, dude. All right, listen. Here's what they shouldn't have fucking... It makes me so mad. Like, in fucking BFA... In BFA, they're adding these mounts. They're like, oh yeah, these are cool new mounts. Wow, look at that, so special, right? They're gonna be for the next goddamn expansion. And then in Miss Pandaria, they're adding the fucking mounts for WoD into the goddamn store. And that way people don't, because like if they added them in during WoD, people would be like, why are you putting in fucking game content for WoD in the store? But they do it beforehand, so nobody fucking knows.
Discuss the veracity of the leak and why I think this one is a bit more likely to be true than some other leaks we've seen. Let's move on to the leak itself and just have some fun with the lore and then do our in-depth analysis of the image. Okay, let's cover the rather wild but totally plausible and absolutely Blizz-like plotline. Supposedly, patch 8.2's end cinematic does show us the final enemies of BFA. Us, yes. According to that, the final Jaina and Lorthamar shot is really what we're dealing with here. N'Zoth and Ashara are both involved in the next expansion. We won't see them again during BFA. Now, given how Blizzard left the 8.2 plot, I could totally see that being the case. So supposedly, Sylvanas is going to launch an attack on Thunder Bluff, as just about all players expect she will, but there'll be a twist. It will be a feint. Sylvanas' true objective is supposed to be Stormwind. So, while the Alliance and the Horde rebels are defending Thunder Bluff, she's actually going to invade and conquer Stormwind. Now, one assumes that this would be the plotline of patch 8.2.5. Certainly, it's quite wild, but it could be done. It's in the realms of possibility, and in fact, Blizzard have already established this exact plot in Christie Golden's novel Before the Storm. Here's the quote. Injuries need time to heal, crops need to be planted, but soon I will call upon the brave fighters of the Horde for another battle, the one you and I have both longed for. Nathanos was silent. She did not take that for disagreement or disapproval. He was often silent. That he did not press her for more details meant that he understood what she wanted. Stormwind. So yes,
I would be so happy to trade Stormwind for Lordaeron. You know, if we could get rid of I never liked Stormwind, honestly. I always thought it was a stupid-ass fucking city. If we could get rid of Stormwind and retake Lordaeron, boom, there it is. I'm happy. I'm happy. Like, I don't ever want to go to Stormwind again. It's a dumbass fucking city, dude. It's a dumbass fucking city. Like, all these random-ass houses you go into, there's no goddamn reason to go into the house. There's some guy that's selling cheese. There's a bunch of fucking random bullshit. No, man. I want to go back to fucking Lordaeron. I want to retake Lordaeron. Retake the fucking Holy Land. That's what I thought was going to happen at the beginning of BFA. This shit didn't happen. I'm mad about it.
Canonically has been Sylvanas' plan the entire time to capture Stormwind. As much as it may be frustrating to have our characters in-game be constantly outwitted by Blizzard's writing staff, and as much as I think it's a bit of a troublesome way to write the story of a shared world experience, it absolutely is in line with how Blizzard have been writing World of Warcraft as of late. This supposedly is going to lead us into the Stormwind and Elwyn raid that will come with a 40-player battleground. This is something that supposedly has been Blizzard's plan since the beginning of BFA, and it's something that does line up with that novel excerpt that I just read. Now, by the time we arrive at Stormwind, Sylvanas will already control the city, leading us into a 10-boss raid. According to the leak, the first boss is a caravan escort, where we escort an Azerite battering ram from Goldshire to Stormwind. After that, we supposedly face old god-controlled city guards and famous Stormwind NPCs.
Wait, old gods?
Then the fifth boss is a void-corrupted Anduin who snaps out of it once he's defeated by us. Now, this fight supposedly also involves Rathian, and this would line up with a patch 8.2.5 PTR storyline in which Rathian creates a tonic that is able to cure old god corruption. So maybe we keep Void Anduin at bay while Rathian works to save him. Then the eighth boss is Nathanos, who
that makes sense, dude. That's the worst. That makes sense, dude. Why does this have to make sense? No, it does. It's not that bad of a story. The story isn't bad. Wait, so Demon has to be retail? Oh, yeah. But Lady Katrina Prestor, who's actually a Nixia, is sitting in there, and nobody could have ever fucking figured out that she was a Nixia, sitting around for years in Stormwind. Oh, no. That totally fucking makes sense. But the moment that Sylvanas does something that's a little bit out of the ordinary, wait a minute here. Give me a fucking break, dude. Give me a fucking break. Retail story is good. The gameplay's fine. Yeah, the story is fine. Okay, the story is fucking fine.
Facilitated by Tyrande in a move that I think many players will find to be quite cathartic indeed.
Yep.
Then the penultimate boss is Sylvanas, who will fight both the Horde and the Alliance until, and this is where the leak gets wild, Bolvar shows up and starts killing Horde leaders. Now, here's the thing. He starts by killing Lorthamar. It seems that Bolvar is not aware of the Alliance and Horde rebel situation and maybe assumes the Horde are still with Sylvanas. Bolvar then sides with his daughter Talia and the Alliance. Now, this seemingly marks the end of the Sylvanas fight and, the start of the final boss, which is the opposing faction. Now, seeing Bolvar kill Lorthamar, the Horde members then side with Sylvanas, leading us into this final fight. This would be tricky to pull off narratively, especially for Thrall, but if you think about Saurfang, well, I'm sure the Lich King showing up, I'm sure that would turn him just into, well, it would set him off in a rage. It's hard to tell exactly here. Maybe the Horde leaders would assume that the Alliance have sided with Death. If so, then Sylvanas and Bolvar would be mirroring each other, kind of fulfilling what many players want with a Lich Queen fantasy. So the final fight has us slowly defeat the opposing faction, with allied faction leaders dying as the enemy health bar decreases. By the time the fight is over, everyone dies bar Anduin and Sylvanas. Everyone, even players. Just like with the Lich King fight. You get a cinematic depending on your faction where your leader kills the other leader but then succumbs to their wounds. And given what we saw at BlizzCon and given the Battle for Lordaeron cinematic, I think, it's pretty clear how Blizzard would execute this. This sort of third and final showdown between Anduin and Sylvanas. And by the end of the raid, everyone's dead. In the cinematic, you wake up in the death version of Stormwind and see Helya's fleet docking at the harbor. Sylvanas is there with Nathanos at her side. And then Sylvanas declares we are now strong enough to face the true battle for Azeroth. And there you have it. That's the end of BFA. We supposedly all die. That's the end of the faction war. We see Blizzard reintroduce Sylvanas and Helya's pact from Legion, and then we head off to the Shadowlands for our next expansion. Now, this leaked image is supposedly the cinematic, so let's take a deeper look at it. First, we see Helya's fleet arriving to ferry us off to the Shadowlands. Upon closer inspection, though, you can see that the NPCs are all from BFA. They're mostly Warfront soldiers. If we're to assume that Sylvanas' plan has been to make an army of death to fight the old gods in, within the Shadowlands, then starting a war, getting everyone dead, and then raising them up like this, because of her pact with Helya, it does make sense. Zooming in the pier, you can see Sylvanas, Anduin, and Bane. Quite the situation, that's for sure, but as we've covered earlier, it does legitimately look like a work-in-progress Blizzard cinematic. So,
what the fuck? If they have the balls to do this, I will be impressed. If they actually have the balls to do this, I don't know if they do. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know if they do. This is actually really good. Straight up, like if they have the balls to do this, like this is really good. Like I don't know about having the Alliance and the Horde come together or like work together or anything like that, but I think that we'll have to find out. We're gonna die like in game? Yeah, this is fucking awesome.
World of Warcraft Shadowlands, that supposedly is our next expansion. Blizzard are set to show a cinematic teaser at BlizzCon, and this cinematic teaser will show Gallywix fleeing from Stormwind's raid and then unfreezing Mekatork. Then the pair of them are supposedly going to create a device that facilitates travel to and from the Shadowlands, with that device being our new Hearthstone for the expansion. And this partnership between the two leaders will lead to Tinkerers, being World of Warcraft's next new class. Supposedly, the release of 8.3 is feeling rather slow to us as players now, because Blizzard are actually planning to have a smaller than usual gap in between expansions. And that does line up with what we'd see here, because if this is 8.3,
they want to get $40 out of you again.
A lot of assets. This would allow for the art team to work a lot more heavily on 9.0. Overall, this could be a way for Blizzard to quickly be rid of the Battle for Azeroth expansion while not cutting its story content overly short. And I suppose I know that if I was in their position, I'd probably want to get away from BFA and over to 9.0 as soon as I could.
I think that's a good idea for them.
Now, as for the content of the expansion, well...
So, WoW. All right, let's say that is fucking WoW. I don't know. I mean, so if this expansion came out and they did this, would I be happy? The answer is yes. I would be very happy. I do think that Blizzard, as I said before, they need to do the proverbial metaphorical flipping the board over, right? Flip over all the pieces, kill everybody, start it all over again, and just see what the fuck happens. And I would love to see that happen. The only problem that I can see with this, right, is that, like, how do you play, like, what do you do after this, right? After you use Shadowlands, like, what do you do after Shadowlands? And, like, I don't know. I mean, the way that I look at it, too, though, is that I would have never expected this ending. I'll be honest. I would have never expected it. A million years, I would have never expected it. And I thought, like, it was going to go in 15 other different ways. I would have never expected this shit. So WoW 2, I mean, maybe. But I think this is actually, like, a really, really, really good fucking idea. Like, what Blizzard is thinking about doing here is a really, really, really good fucking idea.
That's where things could get interesting. It'll involve the Shadowlands themselves. It would be a new 4-zone continent that has a portal to Ny'alotha in its center. Apparently Ny'alotha is a sort of pocket dimension, and then also the Dragon Isles are going to be one of the expansion zones, with Blizzard establishing the Dragon Isles, Shadowlands, and Old Gods as all having a deeper connection than we may think. The leaker claims that the Dragon Isles have a dragon shrine, just like the one from Dragonblight, and that both shrines are tied to the Shadowlands. Now, given how the shrines are Titan constructions, yeah, that totally is plausible. So the leaker says that connection will be important, as will be the Curse of Flesh. Now, the Curse of Flesh is what allows us to be easily corrupted by the Void, and that would actually tie into how King Mechagon was seeking to rid everyone of the Curse of Flesh through mechanical augmentation. Now, plot-wise, when combined with the leaked map post that this leaker says is real, it seems as if we travel to the Shadowlands in an effort to kick out the Old Gods. Now, the Old Gods themselves are mostly sleeping in Ny'alotha. I'm assuming that means that, you know, N'Zoth is active, but the other ones are in Ny'alotha. So our goal in the expansion is to secure the Shadowlands, defeat them, and prevent the rise of the Black Empire. It turns out that Sylvanas this whole time has been working for Helya, knowing that the planet was at stake, and the Alliance have also been technically helping out too, with Elun's Night Warrior victims actually entering the Shadowlands, and Bolvar ferrying us there too. As for Bomsamdi, well, it turns out that his boss is actually Hakar the Soul Flayer, who has stripped Muzala of his corporeal form. That's something that actually would work with established lore, as I've covered in this video, and also do note that Odin can see into the Shadowlands because of his Eye Pact, so there's another Titan connection there.
So how do you guys feel about that with Sylvanas? That she was actually trying to help us out all along? Like, what do you guys think about that? Is that like, oh yeah, I like that, I don't like that? I don't know, to me it seems it's a little scuffed, but I think it's good. The only thing, this is just like a personal opinion, I don't like it whenever the player is tricked. You know, the person reading the story, who's part of the story, is tricked. And I don't know. I just don't think that's like a good. Just doesn't really feel good. But if that's what it takes to change the game in like a big way, I'll say like that's really boring. Well, yeah, because it's like you never really, nothing you do ever really has any significance or permanence, because there was always some sort of other thing that you were working towards. Like if Sylvanas is doing this, like I guess it's okay, but there is a little bit of annoyance there. But overall, I'm happy about it.
Overall, it just seems like this triumvirate of death is something that Blizzard are going to be going for, and of course, you remember how the Void views death as being the ultimate greatest enemy, as we saw in the Windrunner Sisters comic. As for the world of the Shadowlands, well, it appears to be quite diverse too, with the leaker saying that the zones of Nikathos, Xeros, Morbara, Darkfront, and Alanir Riftlands are visually distinct, with Xeros and Darkfront being colorful, and the Riftlands being a more psychedelic Outland, which seems really cool. I mean, badass. Outland was psychedelic enough. If this is to be more psychedelic than
guess
Outland,
that's the ethereal area. Yeah, so that kind of makes
sense.
sense.
Art team executing that would be so cool. Then Morbara supposedly is dealing with troll stuff, but in a way that is different to Nazmir, as the blood trolls are our allies and are being tortured by Hakar. So a very different theme to Nazmir, we assume. Now combine all of this with the Dragon Isles, and yeah, I think we'd have a really nice set of zones. We're supposedly, when we're down there, going to meet old allies and enemies as well, such as Karn, Varian, Vol'jin, plus others, and together we're all just going to be working together to prevent the Black Empire rising.
I hope that they don't bring back Arthas.
Thoughts here, well, look, I think this is absolutely Blizzard-like, be that for better or for worse. I am tired of us being led around by galaxy brain 5-head NPCs with shocking plans that be revealed. I think it feels cheap, but as an expansion of content, I think that actually sounds quite great. Having a portal to Ny'alotha be the centerpiece of this new continent too would be really cool, really stark. A bit like how Kulturas has so much scale because Borealis is its centerpiece. and a bit like how Icecrown Citadel loomed over Northrend through the duration of that expansion.
That's a giant-ass citadel, that's why.
That'd be a really stark bit of world building. That'd be really cool. Then those new zones honestly sound great from these leaked descriptions. Looking through the leaked map as well, we've got things like the Black Forest being there, and that would match up with existing lore potentially in a way that would be really interesting. Seeing the Shadowlands just, I guess, get the Emerald Dream treatment, like actually having it be turned into a real place rather than just a screen filter, that would be really cool, especially if Blizzard do take it in that more interesting visual direction as they seem to be doing with the Riftlands. Then plot-wise, well, we just have to see how they use the reintroduced characters. I think they risk undermining past plots in the name of fan service if they bring Varian back forever, but you know, if they use, say, Varian in a light touch way, I think it could work. But one thing's for sure, I don't think that Varian, Bane, or Vol'jin should come out of this expansion like alive in their bodies again to the material plane.
I agree with that. I totally agree with that. I don't want to see, because it's like Dragon Ball Z or something, right? It's like you die. Like dying just means that you're not going to be in the rest of this season, right? And it's like next season somehow you're back. It makes nothing count. You know what I mean? Like nothing really counts and nothing really matters because you never know when that's going to get undermined by something later on in the future. So I feel like, yeah, Krillin, you know, Vegeta, I think, and like, you know, Goku, like all these characters, they die and then they're resurrected, then they die again, then they're resurrected again, etc. Right? And, you know, it's one of those things. So, give me back Kael'thas. No, man. He already died once and he brought him back. How many times you gotta kill him? Like, give me a fucking break, dude. Kenny from South Park. Yeah, it's Kenny from South Park. Whenever Kenny dies, nobody cares. Death does have to matter in a game, in my opinion, in a story. Unless the story is built around it not mattering. But in like story like WoW, yeah, I think that it should matter. Like, you can commune with spirits and stuff like that, but in general, I do think that, you know, a character dying should mean that they're dead.
Playing around with spirits, like, that's fine. That can be a part of the future. It's always been a part of WoW's lore. I think that's great. But I just don't think those characters should be resurrected as core characters in WoW moving forward.
Big true.
So yeah, there are odd elements, but none of them are out of the realm of possibility here. Forgetting about how we're set to get there, I think that the Shadowlands itself would, I mean, it sounds incredible, being honest with you. I think it sounds really cool indeed. I'd be totally down for that. The way that the zones are described in these leaks, I think that would be pretty neat. And I mean, yeah, the lore is a bit wonky, but there are enough ways where it ties into what Blizzard have established so far. There's some ways that there's, you know, there's mirroring themes and all of that mean that it could actually work. Certainly a bit of a strange one, but maybe Blizzard think that something a bit more crazy and out there, a real punch in the narrative face, maybe Blizzard think that's what they need to do to just sort of slap people out of the battle for Azeroth kind of days and
I agree.
get them into this. And of course, do remember that this is not confirmed by any means. The reason why we've done this video is because the whole team looked at this image and kind of just thought, yeah, this actually looks like it could be legit, and therefore it is newsworthy. And at the very least, we all get to have some fun speculation about the future of the game, which I think most of us enjoy, but also talk a little bit about the, you know, the themes, the lore, all of that stuff, which I think regardless of whether this leak turns out to be true, is a pretty cool thing to talk about. So let me know what you think about, I guess, the story of how we get to the Shadowlands description themselves from these leaks, and yeah, just do you actually think it's true or not? I would absolutely love to hear. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you'd like to support the channel and our sponsor, you can check out NordVPN. If you want to up your cybersecurity game, a VPN absolutely is the step you should take there. It's what I do personally, and yeah, with that, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.
Okay. After watching this video, I can see why people wanted me to watch this video. Okay?